Spanx Calhoun probably does not remember, but one of his first friends when he was a little boy was a girl named Rhiannon. And Spanky probably has no memory of Rhiannon. This is a long, long time ago. But it was another one of those names where every time I saw this little kid, she was the same age as my son. They were in the same class in daycare and things. And every time I saw this kid, I just thought, Rhiannon rings like a bell in the night. And I know that it probably meant nothing to any of the kids. She was just Rhiannon. Sure that, went right over heads. Layla, on the other hand, I am not the first person that is that sings your name. You have one of those names that will be sung. There's Derek and the Dominoes has ensured that name will go on forever. I'll tell you what, we don't use the T word anymore. The cat now knows what I'm saying if I spell it. But she doesn't know what a snack is. You see this? Look. Snacks. Nothing. I dropped the T word, we could have a problem. Although she is out. Don't you love the cat cam? Hey, Calhoun, is the cat cam in good shape? Do I need to move it at all? I'm not always the easiest. I got the thumbs up. Oh, that's good. That is good. She's always fun to. So those of you who suggested that I need a lighter color pillow, we're on it. Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you, Kevin, my friend. I am here today to talk to you people about something called dialectic behavioral training. You got this. You got this. I'm sorry, but this is more important. Get out in that lane. No, I have a Prius, my damn self, and people will say, do you pass anything in that? Because let's be really honest, they're not wildly fast cars. But you know what I say every time someone asks that? I say, gas stations. I go past them all the time. I watch other people pull off. They go in there, they get gas. I just keep going. I go right by it. I love Prius. Never thought I would be a person that could dig a Prius. I love it. When I get my next car, it's probably going to be a Prius. Although there may be an electric car in my future, but not as a primary car. But thank you, Midnight Show. You are appreciated. I mean that. Now let's talk about dialectic behavioral training, and let's talk about something first. I worked with a guy to get sober who didn't say to me, do you know what cognitive behavioral training is? Or cognitive behavioral therapy? There was none of any of that. That's not how we did what we did. However, I read books and came to realize that he was working with me on things like cognitive behavioral therapy. Dialectic behavioral therapy is a little bit different. And nice. As I get older, right? As I get older, I am viewing DBT or dialectic behavioral training in a completely different way than I did in the past. And one of the reasons is that this is one of those things that when I read about DBT, right, this was something that didn't get a lot of good press, right? Love Lisa. I can't do electric cars as long as cell phone batteries are still catching on fire. You know what? You make a good point. And you're blonde. Two good things. Good points and blondness. Can't go wrong with either. Christian says, been through CBT, just starting DBT. When I started reading about dialectic behavioral training back inside when I was incarcerated, it said it was perfect treatment for people with personality disorders, including borderline personality disorder. Also, people who self-harm, people with post-traumatic stress disorder, people with bulimia. This is something that has gained a lot of traction with eating disorders, binge eating disorders, depression, anxiety, substance use disorder, and bipolar disorder. You'll notice that substance use disorder is really at the bottom of that list, right? To me, this was great therapy for people about to die. This was great therapy for people who are in hospice, right? And that's how I understood it, because you'll notice that I use the ampersand, the and symbol, right? And if you think about it in its most basic terms, it's no matter what is happening to me, and I have to do this. right? So to me, it was always somewhat depressing, right? And I shied away from it because I felt like there was a day in my life where I was going to have to use DBT. And that day was going to be when I was dying, right? And that it's a terrible mindset because it's an incredibly effective um, treatment for all kinds of stuff. But again, it wasn't something that I was focusing on. But now I'm 50 something, and 50 something year olds suffer from cognitive decline. It is one of those things that happens to everybody my age. It's happening to me a little bit quicker on account of the fact that I've had some head injuries, a bunch of them. Right now, journaling becomes a lot more important. Last week, me and someone else, also of a particular age, did some work and filled out a couple of loan applications and did some things. Honestly, got to a point where some funds were moved around, and then both of us had to get together and say, "Why in hell did we do this?" This was not Johnny Scoville, by the way. Before anybody picks on him, we said, "What were we doing this for again?" Now, I take a lot of notes. Right, that's a part of the new me. Also, part of the new me is going to be dialectic behavioral training. I beat the crap out of myself when I don't get up and do a 5 a.m. and a 5 p.m. show. But you know what? I'm not going to be able to do all of them. It would be really awesome if I could. Now, doesn't mean the boat's not going to necessarily be able to do all of them, but it might not be May. And there are going to be some changes and stuff like that that's going to be made along the way. And I've been preparing people for this for a really, really long time. But it's going to have to happen. And that's okay. Right? I'm not going to be able to do as many shows as I want. And the lifeboat is going to go chugging on into the ocean and continuing to do what it does. It is going to create connections and it's going to help people get sober who want to get sober. We're going to maintain the rules that we have maintained from the beginning. I do shows here on things that do not have anything to do with sobriety. I do shows here that have things to do with true crime. I have shows here that have to do with things that I find passion in. And I do shows where I just have a good time. We've done trivia stuff. We've done stuff like that. I enjoy my friendship with Reese. Really dig doing shows with her. There are people who would like this channel to go in one direction or another. The vast majority of people wanted me to continue to do stuff with DM, right? Vast majority of people want me to go that route as opposed to not doing that. That's not necessarily. Normally, that's how we take votes around here. However, if the thin minority has been here the longest, then it usually means that they are looking at the direction that the vote is going in, and people are saying, maybe this isn't where we started out. Maybe you need to get your you-know-what together. So I listen to everybody. I really do. But sometimes the voices that may not be the loudest may be important and may get what we call proxy votes, right? Proxy votes. This is in Wall Street where one guy comes in the room and he votes 6,000 times because he has an awful lot of stock, and he may even get 2-to-1 proxy votes on the stock. There's a lot of things that can go on behind the scenes. And there are some people on the lifeboat who have proxy votes, grips of them. They stuck through a lot of BS while we built this, right? And I am a big fan of all of them, right? True story. The reason that we're going to be talking a lot about dialectic behavioral training, I saw a question earlier, what's the difference between CBT and DBT? We are going to be delving into this at length, right? And the purpose of this show today is to explain to you why. I am not going to get into all of the intricacies of both. I am going to be doing that, right? I'm here to tell you I'm going to be doing that. If it's not your thing, you don't have to catch it. But I'm going to be talking a lot about two excellent forms of coping mechanisms for people like me. Now, not everyone is like me. There are people here who are doing fantastic. There are people here who have never had a drug problem. There are people here who have never struggled with any kind of addiction. None of you here can't not benefit from learning both cognitive behavioral therapy and, for those of us of a particular age, dialectic behavioral training. As we get older, we're going to lose a few steps. I'm 53 years old. I went out the other day with a saw on the end of a 25-foot pole, and I trimmed all of my no, Barbie, I sniff constantly, and it's mostly because of the medication that I take, but I'll cover that in a sec. So I was outside in the hot sun trimming my palm trees, which, by the way, are perfect. I'm sorry. My palm trees are banging. But if I were Spanx Calhoun, right, or I were Spanx Calhoun's age, I'd have done that in half the time that I did, right? When I was done, I probably would have swam for 2 hours, maybe worked out a little bit. I'm losing a few steps, people. It happens. And I'm going to continue to do all that I can to live the best life that I can. Wow. Fastest I ran the quarter mile was 8.38 on a bike. I have no desire to break a 9-second quarter mile in a car, much less on a motorcycle. But I have mad respect for people that get adrenaline that way. I really do. And I understand it completely. I am a big fan of adrenaline in all of its forms, not how I like to deliver it. So here's the thing. One of the things that I feel is really important about dialectic behavioral training is we're going to concentrate on a term that a lot of you might not be familiar with. You've heard me talk about it on a bunch of shows, right? Catastrophizing, right? This is where we begin to decide that the world is coming to an end because of insert your favorite whatever here. It's when I love this boat too. Thanks, Ice Bottom, and thank you for the support. 156 on a super bike, too fast. I've gone fast on a motorcycle. I don't like it. It's not a feeling I enjoy. I am embracing things I've never embraced before in my life. You hear me say things all the time like, if I start feeling uncomfortable in my own skin, I'm getting out of this room. I bet you wish you had $1 for every time you've heard me say that. Lord Kissfreak does know that the fastest car in the entire world is three rooms away from here, Lord Kissfreak. So it seems like I'm almost telling you to run from your problems. I'm not. What I'm telling you is cravings take 8 minutes on average to get over. So if you can change your environment and change all of the things going on with your senses for 8 minutes, you're going to get over that craving. That's what I'm talking about. The larger issues in life that you're going to get to even more so as you get older and the limitations begin to happen on us. Guess what, guys? We got equipment that starts working differently after age 45 or 50. Hope I'm not shocking the crap out of anybody with that revelation, right? I believe that Viagra is in the top 3 money-making drugs in history. These are all things that guys need to come to grips with, right? Women have a whole list of things that they need to come to grips with. These are all reality. These are things that there's no getting away from. And I intend to have the greatest life in the world. I'm simplifying the crap out of dialectic behavioral training, people. I really am. But I'm dealing with things now that leaving this room isn't going to change. Right? Now, if the things I'm dealing with in life make me want to use dope, leaving this room might change that. Right? The snapshot of what's going on in my life, looking at where I am, saying I'm going to go out and bombard my senses, right? That is a great tool I have. But now I'm dealing with things that are much larger issues, and they're not going to go away 8 minutes from now, no matter what I decide to do. And that's okay. I am not the guy I was a year ago. And this cat is going to get treated just as good as she did a year ago, if not better. It's not going to affect that. Okay. I'm going to do the best damn job I can do on the lifeboat. Was I better a year ago? Uh-huh. Absolutely no two ways about it. I was better a year ago. And you know what? A year and a half ago, I was probably better than that. It is what it is. And that's okay. Anthony Beatty, I wish someone had had this conversation with me when I was 35. My dad did in a way, but my dad had an incredible sense of humor. So my father was always cracking jokes through all of the stuff about getting old. I was talking about this with Johnny the other day. My dad cracked jokes until he died. You know, the last day that he was on planet Earth, we talked. He told us this was his last day on planet Earth. He had no illusions whatsoever about waking up the following day, and he was at ease with it, and cracked a lot of jokes. One of the things that I've told the story many times on here, but my brother had a football coach who once told him that before practice to drink as much water as he could possibly hold, right? Which is a really horrible piece of advice, by the way. If you're about to go practice in a football practice, to fill your entire body with water is the worst piece of advice anyone could possibly give you, especially as much as you could possibly hold. But it became a recurring joke that we joked about for years and years. And it literally was one of the last two things that my father said to me alive. I said to him, I loved him, and I was apologizing for the things from the past. And he asked me, to make him a couple of promises, of which I did. And then he said, and drink as much water as you could possibly hold. He had a great sense of humor. He really did. But I think that I'm getting really hung up on this aging crap. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I spend so much time incarcerated. You start getting this hang up on this. I'm just walking through this with you. But you start getting a hang up that, you know what? I didn't just lose 13 years. I lost good ones, right? I lost 13 years that I was in incredible shape and that my brain was as sharp as a tack, right? Physically, I was better. Mentally, I was better. That's hard. But getting up out of this room and going outside and changing what I look at isn't going to change that. Phone calls with people from my five isn't going to change that. This is a completely different juncture of my life. And you know what? I'm good with it. Inappropriate Heifer says, I get it. Just dyed the gray today. Couldn't handle it anymore. Heifer, you're going to look great one way or the other. I promise you. You know what? Look at this. I have tapped out. It's going to be white. I don't care. I don't care. And I'm cool with that too. But because to me, there are a lot of things that are becoming the little stuff. You know, the old rule number one, don't sweat small stuff. Right. Rule number two, everything is the small stuff. The longer I do any of this stuff, the more I realize that you can't sweat the small stuff. You know what I mean? You can't. There's a lot of really heavy stuff that goes on in the world. So if there are people out there that, are talking mean about you and making a mean video about you, there's some people dealing with some real stuff today. Right? I have friends who I'm praying for because they got cancer. Right? So you start thinking about some of the silly stuff that you can get torqued up about. And I promise you something else. Dialectic behavioral training is perfect for that. There are jackasses on planet Earth that are going to spread lies about you. And they only can affect you if you allow them to. For real. That ampersand, that and symbol really becomes something massive, but it requires a bit of embracing, right? Embracing the situation that you're in as opposed to trying to get away from it. And as addicts, this is contrary to everything we believe in. Discomfort, right, from a very young age has caused us to seek a different method. That discomfort for some people is physical. That discomfort for others is emotional, and that discomfort for some can't be explained other than I feel really uncomfortable in my own skin or whatever, right? But we've been self-medicating for a really, really long time. Absolutely, it does. In fact, this is one of the things it was developed for, Huckleberry. This is one of the things it was developed for, specifically end of life diagnoses. Picture this. You get up on a Friday and you go to the doctor's office, and the doctor says, "We just found something that we can't remove." And you say, "You got to be kidding." And the doctor says, "No." And you're probably looking at about 7 months. That's the most horrific thing that can happen to a person, right? Other than, it being another family member. But those are the kind of things that all of a sudden you go, "Wait, what?" But tomorrow morning, that person has to get up and eat breakfast. The following morning, Saturday, that person has to get up and feed the dog, take it for a walk. Dialectic behavioral training was developed originally to help with people that had that feeling of, why would I bother? Right? This is over, and why would I waste the next 7 months or try to do anything in 7 months? Or why would I, it's so bad. It's so bad, and I'm going to live the greatest life I possibly can. I am in a place that is not great, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to live as if today is a fantastic day. Wim Hof, you can spell any way you would like. I tried to do a little Wim Hof the other day with Johnny, and it didn't go well. I'll tell you that. I am a big fan of doing cold water immersion, but the other day it didn't go very well for me. I'm gonna have to try again. My brother's a beast with it. And I'm also looking forward to this summer when it's a little bit warmer outside, because I know that Johnny had made a comment in a video. Someone said, "How long can you hold your breath underwater?" And Johnny said something about a couple of minutes, and people seem to think that was a really, really long time for one to hold one's breath underwater. Looking forward to you having an opportunity to watch us play around with that, because this is something that I've done a lot of. Christian B. I am of the firm belief. I am of the firm belief that I'm going to learn to embrace a lot of what's going to be happening to me in the next 3 to 5 years, and I'm going to do it with people watching. That's going to mean I'm going to introduce myself to some of you again and again and again. Tell you what, though, be unbelievably memorable, right? It happens. The way that things get put on your brain is such a phenomenal thing. Hello, Tampa Bay man. Good to see you. I was just talking about you, sort of. Hannah the Blind Kitty. The constant similarities between living sober and living with chronic pain is crazy. I have not found a more kind, disciplined, compassionate group. So much of the disciplines needed are the same. Isn't that the truth? And this is across the board in everything. This is why this is called the lifeboat, right? We're all in the same boat. We are. And we're all in the boat for different reasons. Now age has become mine. And, my memory was kind of my defining characteristic. It is certainly what made me unique. And I'm losing it at a rate quicker than I would like. And that's okay. And that's okay. So you're all going to do it with me. And you know what? There are people here that are going through the same stuff. The story that I was telling, where I had to go back and look through a journal to find out why we were borrowing a sum of money, that could have been in the past enough to shut me down for 3 or 4 days. I'm not exaggerating. It could have been enough to terrify me so badly that I just don't want to do this anymore. And I don't want people to see me in decline. I don't want people to watch that process. But then the more I think about it, the more I realize that that's ridiculous, right? It really is. First of all, you didn't really know me when I was in my prime anyway, right? So most of you don't have a lot to compare it to. And number two, I come here and I say, don't suffer in silence. Whatever's going on in your life, don't suffer in silence. Right? Talk about it. If you don't communicate, well, catastrophizing happens more often than not because we do not share what is taking place inside of our brain. We do not say to the people that we love, I'm scared. We don't say to the people that we care about, I'm frustrated. Right? My friend gave me the best compliment. She told me she can tell the lifeboat is making a difference in my life. Oh, man. Oh, man. How cool is that? Don't you love the squirrel paw hanging over the edge there? Little, this cat. So I'll tell you what was up this morning as well. We're all adults here. I'll tell you what's up. I'm never going to be quite right in terms of going to the bathroom, in terms of eating. I'm going to have some issues forever. That is also just a part of being me. It has to do with the fact that I spent a really long time on opiates, which is a tough thing. It binds you up like nothing in the world. I take Suboxone, which binds you up, right? These are all issues that are long term. I also went on a really long hunger strike where I actually got fed through a tube in my nose, and I did it longer than I should have. And I've never really. I have issues, so I've been having trouble going. Took something to help that happen, and it didn't help. So I took more, and it didn't help. But when it helped, boy, did it help. Boy, did it help. Do you know someone else was asking me about this when I was in Florida? Someone was talking about maybe it was when we were in Clearwater because Reese was talking something about going having bathroom issues while she was down there. She had food poisoning or something. They're a game changer. I don't know what a squatty potty is, to be really honest with you. And I should say things like that more often. But I don't know what the squatty potty is. There was probably a thing, and it was probably a thing while I was gone. It's a little footstool that you drop a deuce in. Yes? Oh. Well, isn't that odd? An ottoman for dropping a deuce. Now, I am both confused and intrigued at the same time. I'm intrigued. We're designed to squat, not sit while pooping. Well, you know what's really odd is I spend the vast majority of my day squatting anyway. Do I not, Calhoun? People think I'm kidding. You guys see me all the time sitting in front of a screen in real life, like in airports. And I squat down, like I get in the corner near an outlet where I can plug something in, and I get into the squatted position. I am more comfortable like that than I am in any other position. So if there's a way to drop a deuce that way, I should probably be working on that. I should. But this caused, suffice to say that I'm cleared out. I should imagine that I am going to be cleaned out for the rest of my life. See, Tampa B Man saw this. Tampa B Man witnessed this in person because she was in Florida. If I'm in a crowd, if I'm somewhere, if I'm not being filmed, if I'm doing something on my phone, I am in a squatted position. And Tampa B actually came up and went, "How are you doing that? Are your feet flat on the ground?" And I said, "You're not going to be comfortable in this position." And she tried to do that, and people try to do it and they end up on their toes. I can do it with my feet flat on the ground. It's just different. Now, as far as hydration goes, I have had 2 of these, and there is this much left in number 3. These are 32 ounces, right? So that's 3 quarts of water. Calhoun, I'm down to try. I promise you, I am down to try. I also can just drag the ottoman into the toilet, which I'm ready to do. Spanky's getting a good laugh out of that, but he thinks I'm kidding. I have no issue whatsoever in doing that. In fact, I guarantee you that my ottoman is nicer than their squatty potty. Keep that real. I want big poofy pillows that I can drop my feet on. Am I wrong? By the way, before anyone gets rolling, prune juice, I drink it. Prunes, I eat them. Not necessarily at the same time, one or the other. This started out as a ski thing. This honestly started out as a ski thing. It started out as a stretch that was awful, and I hated doing it. And I decided that I was going to stretch in that position until somebody who said to me, okay, everybody get in this position. It wasn't going to bother me. I was going to be able to watch television that way. I was going to be able to do whatever I want. And that is exactly what I did. And it certainly helps. You got to read a book. Yeah, while I'm doing it. That makes perfect sense. If you're going to have a hassock in the hopper, right? A book would help. The New York Times, I mean, it's more like a step stool, a solid surface. Okay, so what you're saying is I need my feet raised, but I can't be too comfortable. Lisa, don't play with me. I love you, but don't play with me. If I'm raising my feet for the purpose of comfort in the process of deuce dropping, it would seem to me that the more comfortable I could be, the better, no? It just positions your colon for top performance. Wait a second. You know what? I swear to God, Heifer, I love you. I love you. Calhoun, is that why your head was back and you were laughing? No? Okay. Eat a White Castle cider better than any laxative on the market. Here's the problem with that, right? Here's the problem with that. Only 25% of the time, right? Take this from somebody that's had more White Castle sliders probably than the next guy and the next guy combined. When you eat White Castle sliders, 75% of the time, you're fine. 25% of the time, they are the greatest laxative on the planet. So much so that it's a little uncomfortable. Did someone just really say that? I tried laxatives from the dollar store, and holy crap, they worked. Never again. Okay. I'm not judging anybody because this is the non-judgment channel. And I mean that across the board. I do, however, feel like there are things that you cross off the, I want to get this for $1. You know what I mean? And I think laxatives might be on that list where you go, if the stuff that's going to help me drop a deuce is $4, I'm willing to go the 4 or maybe even the 8. Because the dollar store, just the phrase dollar store laxatives, honestly got me to clench up in a way that goes against what we're shooting for. But that's just me. I went, ooh, that dollar store laxative. Calhoun, is it me? It's me. Come on here. Back me up, Calhoun. Where are you at? Squirrel, what do you think? Yeah, it's got her all messed up. My cat can sleep through cowbell. Call it the timeout chair. Mary says inappropriate. You mean 15 minutes of describing my bowel movements over the last couple of days is not considered entertainment? And that's okay. No, the truth of the matter is, my point is this. I'm working on the new normal. And I don't know what it is. I truthfully don't. And sadly, when I started this channel, I didn't need a new normal. And I was really chugging along. Things were going great. Now, physically, I'm having a lot of issues, and it's going to cause me to cut down on some content. On the bright side, I am going to be inviting each and every one of you to sleep with me, hopefully starting next week, which at least will give people the opportunity to support the boat. And for those of you who really truthfully love the tonality or whatever of my voice, we have been acquiring the scripts for this. There are going to be a multitude of ASMR scripts to go to sleep to. We have White Castle in this state. I've actually filmed from there at least once, maybe twice. Queen of Awkwardness, I appreciate that. I'd like to sleep with you too. I think it's going to be great. This is an opportunity to fall asleep to some really positive stuff, right? I mean, it's not going to be me telling you that the world sucks or the border should be tight, or it is going to be me telling you to let the day melt away, right? It's going to be that kind of a thing. Why, thank you, Heifer. I'm going to try to do a better job. I feel like I've let you down, but I am going to be doing a better job. Nice, nice. Nicola, I am looking forward to doing it. It has been an awful lot of fun to read the scripts, some of which I've tossed, instantly, and some I read, and I thought this is perfect. And I know a lot of people say, you know what, I fall asleep to you on most nights. If, however, you had the ability to put it on with a dark screen, what's going to happen is you're going to hear my voice, and after a period of time, and we'll play with this, but after a period of time, my voice will also have some background sounds, and we're going to play with whichever one of those sounds helps the best as you ease yourself to the arms of Morpheus. Great reference. Come on, people. Isn't Morpheus the god of sleep? I didn't screw that one up, did I? Calhoun, Morpheus is the god of sleep, isn't he? I'm getting a nod. I don't think he actually knows. I think he's just, no, I'm kidding. He does know. The kid's he's sharp as a tack, that one. Hello, Fancy Nancy. Good to see you. You have insomnia at the moment. Oh, Lurker, I love that. It is Morpheus. Thank you, Nicola. Matrix, great script. Great script. I thought the Matrix script was it's one of those scripts that gets you thinking. It gets you thinking. But that is something that I'm going to be working on quickly. I would like very much to be able to start doing that in the next week or so. So that's something that yeah, you know what? You make a good point, Tampa B. There is if you're up late night, Cricket's channel is a great insomnia channel. If the Calm app is working for you, fantastic. Hope Between the Dreams. If you got something that's working, don't even bother changing. But you can go back and you can look up things in the comment section, and it is the most requested thing that anyone has ever asked on the lifeboat, which to me is absolutely astounding. But it is the most requested thing that anyone has ever asked. So we're looking forward to doing it. The Sandman by Neil Gaiman is Morpheus. Okay. Restaurant is a generous term. Lisa, please tell me you're not mocking Squatty Potty, no doubt. Yeah, we definitely were not on the same page at all. We were not on the same page at all. At all. Yeah, yeah. I had a completely different image in my head. I'm glad that you pulled that up, Calhoun, because that's not at all where my head was. Yeah, wow. Hope Between the Dreams. I have had other people say this, and here's the crazy thing. You know who honestly, I don't know if I can say this. Here's what I can say. I have been talked into doing ASMR by a man, not a woman, which I think is a funny thing. Because I really had it completely off in my head. And when I started talking to a guy about it and I started doing my cheesy ASMR voice, dude was like, listen, you're missing the point. It's the tone of your voice. It's the tone of your voice. And He said, you're going to have guys that listen to it. It's not what you think it is. And apparently there is some science to the fact that there, for each of us, there is a sound and a tone or whatever that does bring on relaxation in a way that other things don't. So I'm certainly up for anything. That's more of what I had in mind. Calhoun, now you're getting there. Okay. If the throne was on the toilet side and the ottoman looked like that, right? I want a purple ottoman and I want that on the throne side. And then look, I might not actually, it may not help me go to the bathroom, but at least I will feel like the king while I'm not going to the bathroom. Tampa B Man says, I watch physics stuff to go to sleep. Do you know what's really funny is the observable universe, I think is the name of the book. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. But I kept that book for the last 2 years I was in prison. And I probably read it 4 times. But it was one of those books that could put me to sleep faster than anything else on earth. And I wanted so badly to understand this book that I just continued to read it and then read it and then read it and then read it. And yeah, I honestly, I can give myself headaches trying to like string theory or some of the really heavy thoughts. Even Schrodinger's cat, which by the way, I think they could have come up with a way better animal than a cat, right? It should have been something that no one liked, like Schrodinger's mosquito. If he did Schrodinger's mosquito, nobody would have got bummed out with the concept. But you make it a cat, and now I'm already angry at Schrodinger because one of the options is the cat's not alive. So Schrodinger sucks. But if we have the same discussion and we call it Schrodinger's, I don't know, something annoying, like a mosquito, those are the kind of concepts that can keep me up trying to wrap my brain around. You know, this actually makes sense to me. It really does. I know how difficult this has to be for you to show the boat the good and the difficult times ahead. I saw my dad through 7 years of dementia, the struggles, the good times. We have your back. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you know what? Here's what's going to happen eventually. Eventually, I'm going to reach up here and I'm going to turn off the comments. And it's going to suck. And I hope it's 2 years from now. But we're going to get to the point where I'm going to do less shows and I'm probably going to interact less because in the real world, and my boy can attest to this, but in the real world, if I'm concentrating and I'm doing something and I'm focused, it takes about that much to completely erase whatever I was working on. And sometimes getting it back can take a long time. And it's, again, did you see her pull that in? That one is so worth the rewind. She grabbed the padded deal and just hugged it, pulled it in. She is the cutest cat, and she knows she's being talked about. Squirrel is absolutely aware of the fact that she's a rock star. Are you a rock star? You know when a DOG, when you tell them that they're a good boy and their tail goes, right? You can even say to a dog, "That's a good boy," or "You're a good girl," and the dog's tail will start wagging while they're asleep. I have video of it. I've posted it before. But this cat, right now, she's on top of her tail. But if she's laying on a table or she's laying on the ground or whatever, if I go, "You're such a good girl," her tail will just start wagging in her sleep. She's absolutely understands the concept of me thinking she's a good girl and loves it. Orbital mechanics? I'm sorry, what? You're scaring me, Barb. I'm not going to lie to you. You're scaring me. We all have our quirks. Quirks? Did you see what I did there? Quirks? But I'm bumped. Well, here's the thing. I'm going to do as many shows as I can. On the bright side, I've got a very capable crew that is stepping up to the plate to make my life to make my life easier and more manageable in doing this. Fortunately, I got Spanx Calhoun in town. And you know what? There's no accident to that. You know, my boy's here to take care of me and to help me out. And it's an amazing relief. You're right. Their tails cannot hold a tell. What a great line. A cat's tail cannot hold a tell. They absolutely will let you know what's going on. And you know, when you get good at reading cats, if you're not catching the trivia stuff that my brother does on cats, you're absolutely missing out on the coolest stuff in the world. Johnny does this thing every day where he does cat trivia, and I don't know, cats are the coolest things in the world. By the way, I don't know how long it will take. It's not going to be as easy. It's probably going to take a longer period of time, but Squirrel will have a big yawn. They're talking about me. That's the Halloween cat pose. Who's a good girl? Are you loafing? I'm gonna get some squirrel purring, and I'd like to get some ASMR stuff that we could do, because personally, I could easily fall asleep listening to that cat purr. I do actually quite often, if I'm lucky enough that she chooses north of because very often she wants behind your knee, like that's a big area for squirrel. She's trying to steal as much body heat as possible, right? Hey, Lurker Lynn, I understand, and I'm sorry, but I'm glad that you're talking. I say stuff and then I don't do it. Right? I say things like "don't suffer in silence," that reach out, talk about it, and then the things that are really affecting me the most in life, I don't talk about. And I know that some of it is to share your entire life, and people say that all the time, and I go, "You've been here what, about five episodes?" Honestly, how many shows have you caught? Because if your response is you don't have to share your entire life, I'm guessing you just got here. The nature of what I do here is I share my whole life. I'm a guy that went to prison and got out, and I've remained sober, right? And I tell people that experience. That's what I do. And in order to do that, I kind of got to open up and tell people when things are great, and I tell people when things suck, and I tell people things that they won't know if I don't tell them. And I do that for a couple of reasons. Number one, if I start BSing, right? Well, that's not a lie. It's just an admission. If I come on here and I say I've done nothing in 8 years, I have 8 years of sobriety. Well, it's not exactly the truth. Right? About a week ago, I ate some Valium and pounded some beer for the sake of trying to erase the day that I was having, and that's a relapse. I have not done heroin in over 8 years, which I'm pretty friggin' proud of. 8.5 now, almost. So that I'm pretty proud of. I'm also proud that I came here and told everybody that I ate some Valium and drank beer for the purpose of it, because I don't have to tell anybody. But you know what? Neither does anybody else. And we've got people that come here and they have stumbled and they've gotten back up. Brandon was just here, just saw him. Brandon has stumbled and got back up and been honest every single time it's happened. It's part of it. And having a place where no one can see you, and yet people come and are honest anyway, right? You talk about anonymous, right? This crap is anonymous. You fall asleep to Judge Judy. I got to be careful when I say this, because I never know if Ma Scoville is here and listening, but there's something about Judge Judy that reminds me so much of my mom. I can't explain it. And it's not that my mom is particularly like Judge Judy, but there's one or two phrases that she says, and when she says it, I hear my mom every time. But there are phrases that she uses so often that I can't extricate the two of them. To me, my mom and Judge Judy are always going to be. I'm sure she'd be really happy to hear that too, because Judge Judy doesn't have a reputation for being a fun, kind woman, right? But Judge Judy's great though. Judge Judy is just so dang judgy though. Oh, I know. My mom is not. You see, that's what I'm saying. It really is not. It's just she has a couple of expressions. One is I'm sorry. The way the two of them say I'm sorry is very similar. And it's just 4 years from the ice. Anthony, good for you. Not easy at all. That's a tough drug, man. For those of you who are uninitiated, the being 4 years sober off of ice. Ice is just a more pure form of crystal methamphetamine, and really, really, really a hard drug to quit because of what it does inside the body. Congratulations. Truthfully and honestly, that is huge. In fact, it is worthy of the official participation trophy of the lifeboat. One of the reasons that this is so damn hard to get clean off of is because of what it does in the body with endorphins. We talk about cigarettes. You're having your normal day, your endorphin level is here. You take a big drag off a cigarette and it's endorphin level times 2, right? Base level times 2. Nothing goes base level times more than ice. Methamphetamine, particularly in a needle. That's how you happen to be doing it, although smoking it, any of it. Nothing gets your brain to release more of those feel-good chemicals. Nothing. Then I think when we did a show on this, and it was base level times 12. So really 1,200 times base level. That's insane. That's insane. And here's what happens as people who use ice, right? Here's what happens. We then do habitual behavior on top of it. We get together and have sex for 4 or 5 hours at a whack, or we sit in front of a machine and we gamble for 8 to 10 hours at a time, or we crawl into the hood of a car and we work on a motor for 2 days. But all of that, to get off of ice, to get off of meth, you almost always have to get away from a lifestyle that is also very, very abusive and very habitual. I was in Nevada, and most of the people I knew who were doing ice and doing meth in Nevada went and did a shot in the parking lot and then went in and sat down in a machine for 3 days, right? Playing nickels or quarters or whatever, slots, and just sitting there and playing and just staring at the machine and staring at the machine and staring at the machine. I believe this. There are a lot of people who self-medicate in life and do some of the craziest things in the world, and that is one of them. But meth to work is something that a lot of people do, right? A lot of people will take meth because it absolutely will help you, gives you energy, keeps you awake, releases all kinds of chemicals that make life easier, right? And GHB, which is gamma hydroxybutyrate, is a drug that knocks you out. So it's like living on reds, vitamin C, and cocaine. Doesn't matter, like reds and vitamin C and cocaine, things that take you up and things that take you down. Meth and GHB, cocaine and reds, heroin and coke, speedballs. People have been doing this forever, using one drug to get you through the day and then one that you got to take to go to sleep because you're not sleeping on meth. I mean, most people aren't anyway. You have quite a streak of non-intimate activities going on. I'm gonna leave that one just there. When someone reads to you, you get very sleepy. Excellent, because one of the things that I'm going to be doing is going to be reading. There is definitely going to be at least one of my ASMR tapes that is just going to be me reading. I'm going to pick a favorite book, go out on a limb, and guess which book I shall be reading. I bet you can figure it out. But I will be doing at least one where all I'm doing is reading. And on the bright side, that will probably take a really long time. It's a long book. This is the question, isn't it? Now this is the question. Mary, me too. That was my thing with speedballs. I really did a lot of them. They were real hard to quit. So tough. Is it true that after a while your brain stops producing natural dopamine and serotonin if you do meth for too long? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if science knows the answer to that. I have talked to doctors who have told me that the brain continues to produce natural dopamine. It does not release it. What happens is that the brain, this is a conversation with a doctor that I've had on this channel before and done interviews with. I have a lot of respect for. He does not believe, and this is what he said to me, just in these terms. I do not believe that the brain stops producing these chemicals. I believe that it stops releasing them because it's waiting for you to say, there you go, right? Here's the switch, right? Roll it or spike it or whatever you're doing, right? Hot rails, right? Catch that one, Spanks? Right? Booty rockets, I think the term they were using, booty rockets, taking it to the hoop, putting the drug directly into your anus was a very popular thing for a while as well. A lot of mucous membranes down there. It's kind of like shooting up without shooting up. But a lot of people are doing that. Whether or not your brain stops producing or your brain just will not let it, you are a prime candidate for anhedonia, which is the inability to feel. This is an epidemic of people who do meth for really long periods of time. They get sober and find the inability to feel. That is also a term that has been used. It most assuredly has also been called boofing. Yeah, boofing is another term that they use. Your cat Dominic loves squirrel. Well, I would imagine that squirrel would probably be fond of Dominic, providing Dominic was at a distance. I don't know how squirrel. I've only seen her around dogs. I've never seen squirrel around other cats, but around dogs, squirrel just doesn't care. You know what I mean? She has this thing about cats, like dogs, like take them or leave them. Whenever I had the dog that I used to house sit for, named Georgie, squirrel would play with Georgie's tail. She would go and climb on her. Like she didn't care. It just didn't seem to her. It didn't seem like she realized that she weighed 6 pounds and this golden retriever weighed 106 pounds. Like he just didn't care at all. She was not worried about it. I think she had this thing like, I know I'm going to be a lot quicker than this animal. I think squirrel is confident in her ability to move very, very quickly. The cat cam is a wonderful idea, is it not, Shelley? All of that. The cat cam is that's Spanx Calhoun, my boy. I did not come up with the cat cam idea. That was Spanky, and you know what? It is absolutely a great idea. I personally can't get enough of it, and occasionally I can actually go back and watch Squirrel do some things that I miss, which is cool. Hannah is the same. Loves dogs. Loves dogs, hates cats. I'd love another blind one, but last trial was disastrous. Yeah, that can't be easy. Can't be easy. You have a big boy, Golden. I had, I'm more likely to get a fight out of my ex for calling this dog mine than any of the other things I've ever said about her. But my ex, how's that? Had a dog named Cosmo. And he was a 135-pound golden retriever. And I say this with nothing but respect. I loved this animal. Loved with him. I mean, I played with him all the time. He was never happier than when I came into his life because he had a big dude that liked to go out and get rough with him. And we just had a really, really good time together. He was the dumbest animal God ever created. I'm not joking you. You want to talk about an animal that was just, plain, not very bright. That was Cosmo. But when we got the cat that we had gotten, the cat's name was Fiona. It was about this big. I could hold it in and literally hide it in my hands on the way home. But the look on this dog's face when we brought this cat in, the dog looked down at it and it was like, it was so small. It looked down, gave it a big sniff, and then it looked up at the two of us like, you gotta be kidding me. It was just a look of disappointment. It wasn't angry. It wasn't, it just was like, oh, come on, man. 11 years I've been here. 135 pounds. Now you're going to bring in a little itty bitty kitty. I brought in one of those levels and I fixed the Star Wars so that it is perfectly level. Now it looks so crooked to me. Why I ever touched it, but I put a level on it. I think it must be that maybe the desk. Okay. Yeah, poor Cosmo is right, Debbie, because Cosmo would jump. I said the same thing, and my ex-wife was one of the biggest fans of Seinfeld that you've ever met, except of course, Jeremy. But he was a huge Seinfeld fan, and I said, "Did you name him after Cosmo Kramer?" And she said she named him after the flower. There's a flower called the Cosmo, and it is a thing in the state that we were in, and apparently has quite a blonde appearance to it. And then the golden retriever, I don't know, but he wasn't burdened by deep thought. He always just looked like he was a little confused, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But he was he was so sweet. He really was. That he was never, there was not a mean bone in that animal's body. And with the size of him, like he could have just picked up the cat and swallowed it at any point. Like it would have been a very easy thing to do. Hello, Cricket. I was talking about you earlier. Between nerve damage and carpal tunnel, my hands are not very cooperative. I drop everything and typing takes forever. Cutting food is painful. And you forgot to put the and on the end of all that. I'll help you out. Between nerve damage and carpal tunnel, my hands are not very cooperative. I drop everything and typing takes forever. Cutting food is painful. And I've been an artist my entire life. So having that skill go away is super, super frustrating and painful. And I'm going to continue to do what I can to make art anyway. Right? It may take a little bit longer to type, and I'm probably going to eat a little bit more over-the-counter pain medication. But you're going to keep being the best you can be, right? Because all of us, whether we like this or not, are going to be one day older tomorrow than we were today. Oh my God, Kristen. I am so, so, so sorry to hear that. Do you know how badly I want to go grab my son right now and give him the biggest hug in the world and then slap him once really hard in the head for every time he did this to me? Because he did it to me a bunch. A bunch. One time he did it in the store and he sat on the little horse in the front of the store, which I managed to walk by like 200 times. While I was walking by it, he was like this. Like literally watching me in a dead panic disassemble this store while he sat on a horse that wasn't even moving because there were no quarters in it. He was kind of doing his own thing. I kind of just want to drive over there right now and give him a big hug and a kiss and then beat the snot out of him. But I'm so happy you're here. And I'm happy that you're over it. Yes, they need low jack for children. They absolutely do. I think it would be a great idea. Kids on leashes, I think, is a great idea. No, I've seen it in other places. I'll tell you what else, Tampa Bay. Now that I'm talking about you. So I talked about this yesterday, but I rebuilt this watch. My purchasing agent found it for me, Fiona, back in the day. But the bezel, this thing on the outside, would turn loosely because it was a model built before the ratcheting effect. And when Johnny pointed it out and said, yeah, that would drive me nuts. That was one of the things I didn't like about old dive watches. And I said, yeah, if I clean this one, it would probably be a little bit tighter. And when I took it apart, I found that all of the mechanisms were actually in there. So this would have been the first model that they ever made that should have been ratcheted. And I was able to rebuild it so that it now goes click, click, click when I turn it. But it was my old hands, which have not been very cooperative, right? And it was my old eyes, which have not been very cooperative. And you know what? It probably took 3.5 hours. And I'm sure that a couple of years ago, I probably could have done it in 15 or 20 minutes. But I got it done. And I'm proud as hell of it. And I'm wearing it. And you know what? I'm going to be changing. And so are you. We're going to talk a lot more in the upcoming weeks about cognitive behavioral therapy. Why? Because there's a lot of you here who are going to be right in the wheelhouse for CBT. It's going to be perfect for you. And we'll lay out how it works in a way that I think everyone will understand and we're going to talk about. And then we will talk very seriously about the difference between CBT and DBT and why it makes a lot of sense for people of a certain age to begin to change from one to the other. Susie Q, I think that there was a time where the program was a little bit more structured, and I'm going to run a lot of people off by doing this, and that's okay too, because this is what we set out to do, and it never stops being important, even if other crap seems entertaining. This doesn't stop being important. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to do a better job of communicating on this. Queen of Awkwardness, CBT, probably not a match for you. You're not the first person I've heard say this, and I'm going to be wicked honest with you. I'm not a huge fan either. I'm not. And the older that I get, the more DBT is something that makes a lot of sense to me. Little Flower, I'm so glad you said that out loud. Flower says, I'm 66 and my mom died with dementia. It scares me. I would imagine it would. And we're going to talk about it. I've been honest and open about it here. I had a diagnosis where they told me that I was going to be in a diaper in 7 years. That was a long time ago. Now, I was also in prison where the doctors, with all due respect to anyone who may be a prison doctor, they weren't the best in the feds. They weren't. And I changed my lifestyle the day I got that diagnosis, and that's not that's not who I am normally. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, and DBT is dialectic behavioral training. And we're going to be going over both of them, Debbie P. I promise. But and I'm going to be going over again why the seems broken. Yeah, well, if I'm most assuredly broken, and I think that I've yet to meet anybody that's not. So, 4 years sober birthday today. Good Lord. 4 years. Congratulations to 4 years. Jemiah, that's okay. You're not broken though. You're here. You seem to be working good for that with us. I can see you anyway. 4 years. Congratulations. Good Lord, man. 4 years. How good does that feel? Johnny Scoville, see, Johnny lurks, and then something like 4 years, he can't lurk through that. You see, Johnny's a lurker. He's a lurker, like a lingerer, only a lurker. Calhouni, did you get the lingerer reference? No? No? Pineapple Express? Lingerer. Johnny's a lurker. 4 years is amazing. The Chili Kingmaker is lurking. My hands were here. I did not type that. I did not type that. I just wish I did. I just wish I did. True, we don't get through life without something breaking us a bit. Yeah, I'll tell you something else. The old man, my father was fond of saying, "Getting old sucks, but it beats the alternative." So I'm gonna put out content that's gonna be a little less and a little different, but it's gonna be better than not putting out content because I'm addicted to this now. So you just have to keep showing up and being kind if I forget your name or if I welcome you to the show for the first time, for the 9th time in a row. Yeah. So it could be worse, right? It could be so much worse. But there's a golden opportunity here too. And this is something that is not lost on me, right? Yeah. I agree with you. Prayers for Wendy Williams, I think is a good thing. Bruce Willis as well. Now, what Bruce has and what I have are not anywhere close, thank God, because the aphasia would be it starts immediately on your ability to communicate. And thank the Lord that is not happening to me. Mine is all memory at this point. So, but it is also an opportunity for somebody to film this. There'll be some frustrations and there'll be some stuff. You just got subbed to Johnny. Well, you're not going to regret that. You'll also probably run into a lot of people from here over there. I know poor Bruce is trapped in his own mind. I don't know how to say this without sounding weird. If you've ever seen, you ever see an actor and you just feel like maybe it's the age of Bruce Willis. Maybe it's that I grew up with Moonlighting, and then I was a senior in high school, I believe, when Die Hard came out. In fact, I know I was a senior in high school when Die Hard came out. I feel like there was just he was like my generation's actor, if that makes sense. I don't know. The Bruce Willis thing really hurts me. I just there's something about Bruce Willis. I'm a huge fan, really big fan, and I feel for him. It's the concept of being trapped in a body and unable to communicate is one of the most frightening things in the world to me. Look at that, scared the crap out of Squirrel just mentioning it. Instantly in for the ear scratch. Settle down. Don't you think it's funny that they wake up and instantly just decide that they need to clean something? That they go from sound asleep to, need to work on this hand. You know what? Moonlighting has held up too. I went back and watched a couple of episodes when I was in the hospital the last time. I went back and watched like an old Philip Marlowe type. It's a great reference. Very much like a Philip Marlowe type. I love that reference, Huckleberry. And Moonlighting had that kind of a feel to it too. But it's filmed with very few cameras. It's not edited. All those old things, I can watch all those and loved it. Go back and watch the episodes. They hold up. They're still funny. They're still super entertaining. They really are. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm going to be in Albuquerque this weekend with a bunch of Scovilles. There's going to be Scovilles everywhere you look. So if you happen to be out in the Albuquerque area, we'll talk about it a lot more between now and then. But really would love to meet up with you guys and give you a chance to come down too and see this bizarre world of pepper, people. If you've not seen this thing, it really is. It's so unique. It really is so unique. But for those who can't make it, I'm going to take you along on the ride. We're going to go live from the floor of this puppy, which ought to be a heck of a lot of fun. You hated Moonlighting. Wow, Debbie P. You're I don't hear that very often. Was it did you hate Bruce Willis or did you hate Sybil Shepherd? Because something about it, or perhaps you're not a fan of contrapuntal argument. Boy, oh boy. You know what? You could live your entire life and never use the word contrapuntal in a sentence. I honestly had to go 53 years to wait to use that in a sentence. Contrapuntal, I believe, is when two people argue at the exact same time, not listening to what the other person is saying, but just trying to make their own point. And they kind of did that over each other throughout the entire show. It was that kind of joke. So if you're not a fan of contrapuntal argument, that may have done it too. But Designing women again. I don't know that one well. You loved the dialogue and moonlighting. Well, when they would argue one over the other. Yeah, a bitch fest, but contrapuntal is a little different in that, truthfully, I'm not really listening to anything you're saying. You're not really listening to anything I'm saying. So I could be talking to you about this right now, and you could be talking to me about the fact that you're buying a car on Thursday. Both of us will talk at the exact same time. And then usually, if it's scripted well, one will say something like, wait, you're buying a car on Thursday? What? Almost the exact same time as the other person says, were you just describing some form of argument? That was the basis of the entire show. About 6 seasons of that, I think. I know what you're talking about, Tampa Bay. I continue to be a fan. I continue to be a fan. I subscribe. I don't watch, but I listen. And his lyrics are incredible. You think I made that word up? I did not make that word up. Contrapuntal argument. I promise you I didn't make it up. All right, everybody. I want to thank all of you that stopped by and say hello here. It means a lot to me. It really does. The connection thing is beautiful. And very often this is like a form of it's another way of journaling. And it's do we know when the journals will be ready and how much they will be? If they're not ready and in the store Tuesday, I'm probably going back to prison. Like the experience that I've had with and I'm going to trash the company and tell you all about the horror stories, but not until they're in our store. But the horrific experience that this has been. But I should be able to tell you all of you that this coming week. Hopefully, really early this coming week, but we shall find out shortly. Should have had it Tuesday of last week, so they have not done well. But on this point, I feel really good in that, truthfully, this is not my fault. And that is great. And it is not because I'm bad with computers. It's not because I wasn't smart. It wasn't anything like that. It was because these people are horrific at what they do. I certainly will not use them in the future. But you live and learn. And that is part of this. And on that is the news. I don't even have to lift up this basket anymore, Cal. How cool is that? You know, I used to have to slightly molest the cat a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, not a happy animal when they're sound asleep and you got to pick them up. And now Calhoun can just, look at that. See, that's just far more civilized. And my beautiful little tortie doesn't need to get Ren. Thank you.
Do we need to be worried about the quality of the journals now? Like, if they're so bad at their job they can't keep a time schedule, can they put it together properly?
If there's an issue with it at all, then they'll be sent back and we won't buy them. But we're going to find that out.
I'm really excited to see.
Me too. Me too. And I have big faith in that. As long as it ticks, it's going to be perfect. That's, you know why? Because the other side of that is catastrophizing, and I'm not doing that. We will be going over that in greater detail later this week. I promise, because it is a big part of dialectic behavioral training. Congratulations to 4 years of sobriety. That is absolutely awesome. It really is. I love that. Love that, nurse. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And to all of you fighting the good fight, if you've got 40 years, 4 years, 4 minutes, if you've decided to not get through the next stretch by using chemicals, right, or habits, but healthy ways to get around it, you are among people who are trying for the same thing, right? This is a peer support network. I love each and every one of you. That's a cat in a basket. Calhoun, where is your pretty face? Don't you shake me off like a catcher. You better get. The squatty potty thing. I am willing to look into this. I really am willing to look into this. And my son is laughing. There he is. No, that's a cat. Oh, there you go. How you feeling?
Feeling all right.
Good.
Yeah. It's a little overcast outside. I feel kind of overcast myself, but whatever.
It's that day, isn't it? It is absolutely that day. And I know you're going to be doing a little bit moving later in the day. Are you excited for the upcoming road trip?
I am very excited for the upcoming road trip.
For
Hopefully, going to eat
for
some
those of
hot
you,
stuff.
yeah, get a chance to.
Show
For those
my
of you who have never met Spanx Calhoun, he's going to be out there.
show my butt in public. It'll be great. It'll be nice. Yeah, very excited. Really don't have anything else I want to say about it other than I want to eat hot stuff.
Well, then you're going to the right place. And the good news is, I want to watch you eat hot stuff. Normally, I'm the straight man to Johnny Scoville's here. This doesn't burn, honest. This time, it can be you. I'll just point the camera. See that? That's I'm getting old and I don't need to abuse myself. I'll just watch you do it.
Just keep your steady hand, and we'll keep you at work.